Blog Talk Radio.
This is Wreckinball Randy Casey, and you're listening to the best internet professional wrestling show, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Oh, yeah!
Awesome.
Today on 360 Wrestling Fanatic, it is the return of Wreckingball Randy Casey right here today, and we will discuss this Saturday's big event, the Clash Wrestling Fight Against Cancer 6 at the Relay for Life at Heritage Park this Saturday. And that is all today on 360 Wrestling Fanatic. And the show starts right now. Hey, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic for Monday, May 13th, 2013. Today's show, we are live and exclusively on Broadcast Radio. And right now, at this time, to kick things off, I want to welcome back to our show a multi-time guest. I think this is the 9th or 10th time, I believe. Wreckingball Randy Casey. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Lance, thanks for having me out once again. You know, it's been a pleasure. You know, I can't wait to get things started. You know, it's always a fun time, and I can't wait to see what you got for me today.
First off, how are you doing today?
Oh, you know, I'm doing real good. You know, beautiful day out here in Michigan. You know, I'm getting ready for the big event this Saturday at Taylor, Michigan. You know, just having a good time, just relaxing, getting ready. Going to watch some Tigers in a little bit. Hey, it's going to be a good day today.
Yep. Today we're going to talk about a very special event that's taking place right here in Taylor, Michigan at Heritage Park this weekend. But before we talk about that, I just want to get to one thing that during our last interview after Age of Allegiance that we forgot to talk about. That was pretty big. And it was the change, I guess you could say, from the wrestler formerly known as the Caveman Tyler Elkins to Elk. And you know him very well. You've been in the ring with him many times. So I just want to get your opinion on this whole transformation between Tyler Elkins and Elk.
You know, it's actually kind of scary, you know, looking at this transformation, you know, because I've known Tyler Elkins. I've battled him for like the last year, and he was a tough guy alone as the Caveman. Now I see him as Elk, and like he went through the time machine, and he came back as like a more tougher and more serious guy, and plus he's got Matthew Priest in his corner still, and he looks really tough. And now he's got that war paint, and he comes out with the jacket. Like, he looks like a really, you know, tough guy.
True. And at Age of Allegiance, he defeated Dave Manzo, and you know that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, you know, Dave Manzo, you know, me and Dave Manzo are buddies, and he was telling me, you know, this isn't the same Tyler Elkins that I was wrestling. He's saying this guy is dangerous. He's out there to hurt people. He's not out there to win the match. He's out there to physically hurt him. And Manzo said, you know, Tyler Elkins is gone. Elk's here.
And also, at Age of Allegiance, we talked about this before, but to talk a little more about it, you faced the Canadian Destroyer, who looks a lot like P.D. Williams. And do you have anything more to say about that match?
I have to say, that guy, he really, really resembles the guy that I see on Thursday nights. I'm pretty sure that was P.D. Williams, but there's no way that P.D. Williams will come back to Clash after getting beat by Jay Miller that bad. But I will say, though, if I see Canadian Destroyer again, I wouldn't mind going get one more chance to rip that mask off his dumb face, because I came so close, and I think if I got one more chance, I'd rip that mask off and see who he really is.
And maybe if P.D. Williams or the Canadian Destroyer, whatever he wants to call himself, here's this interview, are you going to put out an open challenge?
Well, we got the free show on Saturday, and I haven't seen really I haven't actually seen any matches announced yet, so how about the first match we announced is Wreckinball versus the Canadian Destroyer?
Well, we'll have to see if he accepts. And a little while back, I've actually seen on his Twitter, P.D. Williams, on his Twitter account, he called the Canadian Destroyer a ripoff, actually.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. It's so weird because, after the match, I really didn't see the Canadian Destroyer, and he took his phone with him, too. So who knows? Maybe there's a little more to this mystery.
That's true. And now let's get on to this Saturday, Clash Wrestling Fight Against Cancer 6 at Heritage Park. And now, how good of a feeling is it to be able to help out such a good cause like the American Cancer Society?
It's a really rewarding experience to be a part of the whole Relay for Life event in Taylor. It's Clash Wrestling's 6th year doing it, and it's an all-day event. We're all set up. All the Clash Wrestling people, all the Clash Wrestling gang are there, the whole wrestlers, everyone. You'll see Artie the Wolf and everybody. We're all, and we have a fun booth and all that. Then, the event, to go able to walk and see, all the survivors and all the people that had to deal with cancer. And it's such an inspiring event. And then, later on at the night, you get to watch free pro wrestling from the greatest wrestling company around, Clash Wrestling. So it's going to be a fun time, and I love this event, and I look forward to it every year.
Yeah, I will be there this Saturday, and I'll try to come out during the day, too, and maybe can get a live interview from the Relay for Life with Wreckinball.
Oh, yeah, Eddie. I'll be there.
And also, let's just talk about last year's Relay for Life and the free Clash show. You took on Gavin Quinn, and now he's one half of the Clash Tag Team Champions. And last month at Age of Allegiance, him and Dragon Greed giving themselves the tag team name, such a disgusting name like that. And what do you think they're going to have in store for the Relay for Life this Saturday?
This is one of the things that I'm actually kind of a little nervous about, Lance, because, I look forward to having a good time at the Relay for Life. The Clash Wrestling crew goes out there, have a good time. Now, these two guys having a name like Cancer as their tag team and just losing, I think they have a lot to say. So I'm not looking forward to if they come out there and try to talk. Now, if they want to go out there and try to say they're Cancer, I wouldn't have a problem me and Swagstar teaming up and beating Cancer and having Cancer getting beat at another Clash Wrestling show. So whatever they want to do, I'm open for it.
That'll be a very good tag team match to see. And also the main event.
Look at this! I'm planning myself in all the matches. Wreckinball versus Canadian Destroyer, Wreckinball and Swagstar against Gavin Quinn and Dragon Greed. Oh man, let's get all the Wreckinball matches on the show.
Oh yeah, and last year's the main event was Mina Libra versus the former Caveman Tyler Elkins, and Mina Libra actually pulled off the upset and got the win. What was your thoughts on that match?
I remember that match because I remember I was watching it live out in the crowd, and it was such the energy was so lively because that's Caveman. I was just got a feud with him. He is still going he's still a tough guy, and for Mina Libra, not only as a woman but just to be a wrestler, to get a win on Tyler Elkins was such a huge moment for her, and like to do that at the Relay for Life event was like really such a cool moment. Like nothing really can compare to at the Relay for Life events, like when Mina Libra beat Caveman.
And not only did she get the win, but she got the win with a Samoan drop. And hitting a Samoan drop on the Caveman is not an easy thing to do.
No way. Like that, he's a heavy guy. I even he's pretty heavy to pick up. And for Mina Libra to do that big, powerful move, oof, that was amazing. And
last year there was also a good tag team match for the Clash Tag Team Championships at the time. The H3RD versus Matthew Priest and Dragon Greed, one half of the current tag team champions, and also Jay Miller versus Cameron Sky in a very good match. And now I want to talk about another fight against cancer from the past, Fight Against Cancer 3, which you and Flagstar Dave Manzo had a one-on-one match, and even during the match, you had a dance-off. So, do you have any good memories about that match?
It was that's one of the matches, that like I always remember because, you can find that match on YouTube. But, I remember it was such a hot and like muggy night, and the ring was all like wet from the humidity, and the ropes were all slippery, and I just see Manzo, and I'm just like, I just feel like I could beat this guy at a dance-off tonight. I feel like it's in my corner, so hey, I challenge him to a dance-off, and that was like one of the funniest times. That's like me and Manzo dancing, and he eventually would go on to be good pals, but that night I totally beat him in that dance-off.
Oh yeah, I saw that match, and to get a quick plug-in, I own the DVD, actually, the Clash Wrestling mixtape that has that match on it, and if anybody is interested in getting it, it's on sale at smartmarkvideo.com, actually. So everybody should go out and buy that.
Yeah, definitely. What's so cool about that match is like how different. Like I've changed. When you look back at that match, I was the 460-pound Wreckinball, and now after getting fired and going through all the changes that I've gone, I am now the 260-pound Wreckingball. So it's really cool to see how much of a transformation the Wreckingball has made.
Oh yes. So that is this Saturday at Heritage Park here in Taylor, Michigan. The Relay for Life, and like you said, not only do you get to see a great night of Clash Wrestling for free, but you get to also help out a great cause, so it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, that's right. You get...
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, you get to see, like, you get to see a free Clash Wrestling show. There's going to be other shows around, and, you have to pay for those shows. We're going to have a show that's going to be free. You don't have to pay to come see our show. And our show is going to, like, you just mentioned the matches that you named last year. Jay Miller versus Cameron Sky, that match was for free. Wreckinball versus Gavin Quinn, that was for free. H3RD versus Dragon Creed and Matthew Priest, those are matches that could happen on big Clash Wrestling shows, and we gave them all away for free. So just imagine what we're going to give away for free this year. So you guys all got better come out.
And I got a quick question, a quick Clash Wrestling question here. Of course, Ringmaster B will be in attendance at the Relay for Life. And I got to ask this, who is the better ring announcer, Ringmaster B or Ricardo Rodriguez?
Ooh. That's a tough choice. Ricardo Rodriguez could really, got that really strong voice, could get that big Del Rio. But, Ringmaster B is pretty good, too. Ringmaster B, you never know what to expect from him. Ringmaster B actually at one point was my manager. So I kind of had to pull towards Ringmaster B. Me and Ringmaster B are boys. We got some Kalamazoo stories we could do on an interview one day. But, Ringmaster B, he's my choice.
Well, yeah, I agree with that, actually. And not only is he good all year, but once a year, he turns into Doc Emmett B for Clash to the Future. And also at Relay for Life this Saturday will be Artie the Wolf. and it's always good to see him. He's always has a good energy about him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Artie the Wolf, the only Michigan independent pro wrestling mascot, is it's such a cool attraction. He runs around. He's always having a good time. He's always dancing, playing with the kids. Now, me and Artie are good friends. One time me and Artie switched bodies. He let me borrow that suit, wreck-bottomed caveman. So me and Artie, we've been pals for a long time. So I can't wait to see him this Saturday. Catch up by some of that good food at the Relay Your Life event.
And now, also for Clash, coming up next month is Grandpa Ganza. And then in August this year, All Out War. And I know it's still a few months away, but I'm sure you're going to plan on being in the All Out War match this year and get the title shot for the Clash Championship.
I really hope I get the chance to be in it, because 2 years ago, of course, it feels like in this interview I'm like, oh, I did this, I did that. Well, actually, 2 years ago, I won the All Out War match. And now I'm starting to think maybe the All Out War match might be a little cursed. I won it, went on to face Gavin Quinn, and we all know what happens. Wreckinball didn't win the Clash Wrestling Championship. Then the next year, it was Blue Ranger, does the impossible, wins the match, goes on to wrestle Petey Williams, and he subsequently loses that match. So maybe I'm starting to think that there actually might be a pattern to where winning the All-Out War match and going through that huge battle with all those competitors and then going to face the champion the next show might actually not be a good event. But you know what? Hey, Wreckinball is all about making history, so I say let Wreckinball go in All-Out War, win the All-Out War match, break the All-Out War curse, and become Clash Wrestling champion.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think it's going to happen because if you remember, earlier in the year when you were on the show, I made a prediction that by the end of 2013 that you will be the Clash Heavyweight Champion. So I think that is going to happen.
Oh, yeah, I'm pulling for it, and who knows? Maybe Wreckinball versus Jay Miller one more time for the belt? Oh, that'd be a match I'd want to see.
I think everybody would. And have you been studying any, I know you know him well, but have you been studying any videotape or anything to get prepared in case you do get the title shot?
Well, I've known Miller for a long time. Like in the ring, we've had battled for a whole year, and his style is he's a lot more quicker. He's a lot faster, and like I don't want to say like he's like a lot more tougher, and he's got like that discipline because he still has that vow of silence. He said when he would win the belt is that when he would speak again, but he still kept it. And Miller is a really tough guy, and his battles with Petey Williams, he's no slouch. So if I had to go in there with him one more time, I feel like I could be pretty prepared. But you can never really prepare for a guy like Jay Miller.
That is true. And also, now what I want to do is I want to mention some names of some guys that are free agents, I guess you could call them, in the wrestling business now. And I want you to tell me if you think if you would like to see them in Clash or if they would be a good fit in Clash Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Now, the first one I want to mention is Matt Hardy.
Ooh, Matt Hardy, I think he'd be a pretty good fit in Clash, He's got that high-flying style, really been around for a long time, and I really could see him getting some success if he came to Clash Wrestling, Now, he did a little stint in Ring of Honor, and he's been making his name for himself, so if he came to Clash Wrestling, I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to go for the belt.
Matt Hardy versus Jay Miller, I think, would be a very good match to see.
Oh yeah, I'd definitely pay big money to see that. But you know what would happen. Jay Miller, I don't think he'd be scared of Matt Hardy one bit.
Not at all. And the next one is John Morrison.
I'd that's another good one. John Morrison would have a really cool fit with the Clash fans. Clash Wrestling, the Clash Wrestling fans seem like they would really connect with Morrison. Morrison from WWE being really talented, really athletic. Seeing a match like John Morrison versus Gavin Quinn or John Morrison versus Cameron Sky, those would be really competitive athletic matches, and those guys would be able to go tear it up. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing John Morrison come to Clash.
And one that I would love to see in Clash is AJ Styles. What do you think? Yeah,
definitely AJ Styles. He's been around. He's been doing TNA for so many years, and he's such an experienced wrestler and really talented. Still going, still super athletic, still can hold his own. And I bet a lot of guys from Clash would be able to learn a lot from a guy like AJ Styles.
And right now, I want to mention a dream match that I think would actually be good in Clash, and I want to get your opinion. How about the H3RD versus Team Hell No?
That would be a pretty interesting match, because if you look at it, it's a pretty even team. Team Hell No has the big monster with Kane, big powerhouse. H3RD has just as strong of a powerhouse in Dead Vaughn. Then you got the scientific wrestler, the mad scientist, Tommy Trezek, going against a well-rounded grappler like Daniel Bryan. So that'd be a really even, really fair-fought match, and that'd be pretty cool. Who do you think would win in that one?
Wow, I don't think I could even really make a prediction for that one because, like you said, both teams are great, and that would really be hard to pick one of those teams to win, really.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're both tag team champions, so they both know how to win the big matches. So it'd be a pretty cool match to see.
And another thing, we've talked about this before. We've talked about Ryback a little bit, and I just want to mention this one thing. I've even tweeted about it before. I've heard Michael Cole a few times on Raw call Ryback a human wrecking ball. And when I heard that, I was thinking to myself, there's only one wrecking ball, and that's Randy Casey. So what are your thoughts on Michael Cole calling Ryback that?
I honestly don't mind it, because a lot of people get the nickname Wrecking Ball every once in a while. I remember a couple years ago, Mark Henry was being called Wrecking Ball, and everyone gets that nickname, and it doesn't last. I'm the Wrecking Ball because anything that stands in my way, I have the ability to knock it down and get past it. So they can keep calling him Wrecking Ball all he wants. We all know who the real Wrecking Ball is.
Yes, and now real quick, if you don't mind, let's talk about a little bit about this tonight's Monday Night Raw. And are you looking forward to the dance-off between Chris Jericho and Fandango?
That's going to be a really interesting thing to see. Chris Jericho did the Dancing with the Stars. He didn't make it too far, but, he's got some dance lessons. But, man, that Fandango, I don't know how you really say it, but I think he might actually win. He seems to be an actual professional dancer, the one who actually spends all his time and energy, his free time, just dancing. He's not training to be a wrestler. He's just dancing. So, I think Fandango might actually win that match. Or dance off, I think he might win it.
Yeah, well, I am looking forward to it because it's been confirmed now that my new favorite WWE diva, Summer Rae, will be dancing with Fandango tonight. So I think that gives him an edge right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Summer Rae, tearing it up in NXT. Really competitive diva. I'm really excited to see her make her debut tonight on Monday Night Raw.
And also, this Sunday coming up, Extreme Rules. Of course, Triple H and Brock Lesnar for the third time but this time it's a steel cage. And what is your prediction?
Triple H has all the experience in the world, but Brock Lesnar, while being away from WWE after 2003, went on to make a good living and become a world champion fighting in a steel cage. So I don't think Triple H is going to be out of his environment. You know, Triple H has had a lot of cage matches and actually won a lot of cage matches, but Brock Lesnar, I think he knows his way around, and I think he's going to put an end to Triple H.
I agree with that. And lately, WWE is PG, but do you think there's a chance we will see color in this match and somebody will bleed?
You know, I'm personally not a fan of blood in wrestling. You know, I think wrestling should be about the competitiveness of the match, not necessarily the blood and guts of a match. Now, I understand that, you know, blood can happen, and if these two, you know, something happens where they decide to bleed, you know, I don't think these guys are really going to stop to let someone fix the cut. You know, I think these guys have a lot of bad blood, so if we see some blood in this match, I wouldn't be too surprised.
And now, what is your prediction for the WWE Championship match, John Cena versus Ryback?
You know, it's going to go to Ryback. I'm picking Ryback for this match. You know, John Cena's injured. This is Ryback's time in a last man standing match. You need both legs to stand, and one of John Cena's legs is out. So I think Ryback, this is going to be his time to win it.
And how do you think WWE has been doing the heel turn of Ryback so far?
Well, you know, it's really funny. It's really interesting to see how they handle the character of Ryback, because I haven't seen Ryback, honestly. He's been pretty much still the same. Like, he's still focused about competing and just beating people up. He's shown, like, he's tucked his tail between his legs a few times, but nothing too uncharacteristic of him, like not making him like hasn't been acting like a coward too much for the most part, but he's been really interesting to see.
And this Sunday, it looks like the World Heavyweight Championship match is in jeopardy because last week with Dolph Ziggler suffering the concussion at the SmackDown taping and having some kind of amnesia, so it could just turn into a one-on-one match, Alberto Del Rio versus Sheamus, or not Sheamus,
Jack Swagger, man.
Sorry, I drew a blank there.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. So.
Oh no, man, you got it.
So, what's your prediction for this one?
You know, it's really interesting to see what happens tonight on Raw with Dolph Ziggler suffering concussion, because, you know, concussions are really serious in this business and should be taken very seriously. So if he's hurt, he should be taking time off. Now, if it turns into a one-on-one ladder match, I'm still going to have to go with Jack Swagger, because he's been working on Del Rio's leg for the longest time, and Del Rio's leg actually is what cost him his World Heavyweight title. So he'll have trouble climbing the ladder. But, and Jack, you know, it's interesting, though, both these guys have won Money in the Bank ladder matches. So they know how to climb a ladder. So I'd be interesting to see who wins this match.
And do you think Jack Swagger, having Zeb Coulter, of course, who is Dutch Mantel in his corner, hearing that Dutch Mantel brings the being in his corner, do you think that has helped him in the recent months?
Oh, most definitely. Like, where he was a couple years ago to where he is now that he has Zeb Coulter in his corner, is remarkable. You know, Zeb Coulter has so much experience when it comes to professional wrestling, being a manager and being in the business for so long, that he is helping Jack Swagger rise to heights that he hasn't been to before. And, you know, I really could see him winning the World Heavyweight title again. So it's helped him out a lot.
Yes, I agree with that it would be good to see him have another run, and hopefully better than the last one he had a few years ago. But my question is, though, I'm not sure if WWE will put the title on him because actually there was talk online that he was supposed to win it at WrestleMania from Alberto Del Rio, but the whole thing with the arrest with him with the DUI and everything caused the WWE not to put the title on him. So do you think that will keep them from giving him the belt again?
Well, you can never really believe what you read on the internet, 'cause, that's how the one way they try to get you, Now, Jack Swagger getting that DUI might have gotten his head a little bit, may cause him trouble, couldn't really focus in the match. So, actually maybe it kind of worked out for him because now he's going to get this chance in the ladder match. So I could totally see Jack Swagger being a WWE champion. He's everything WWE looks for. He's big, he's athletic, he's tall, he's charismatic. So I could totally see Jack Swagger becoming not only WWE champion, but the World Heavyweight champion. So I don't think anything could really stop him.
And now let's go over to talk a little TNA real quick. And I want to get your thoughts on coming up at Slammiversary, the main event for the TNA World Championship, Sting versus Bully Ray.
It's going to be, Sting, been around for so long, such a great wrestler, but going against Bully Ray, who right now is in the best shape of his life and on top of his game, and even though I don't like his new attitude, he's going to be the man right now. So I totally see Bully Ray taking this match.
Yes, I actually would say he's one of the best heels in wrestling right now. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A really good villain. He's, one of the things in wrestling is that the crowd makes an impact, whether they're, pun intended, of course, talking about TNA, but it affects how you perform in the ring. If you go out there and the crowd's behind you, like how I feel the crowd's behind me, it gives you a lot of energy, it makes you feel good, it picks you up when you're knocked down. But when the crowd really hates you, it gives you that extra motivation to get up when you're knocked down, to shut them all up and prove them all wrong. And Bully Ray right now has the power to do that, to make the crowd hate him, to give that energy that he needs to keep winning.
Now, another thing I want to ask about is, I know fans all over the internet, all of the IWC, they have been complaining about the Aces and Eights storyline in TNA. They hate it. But actually, I really don't mind it, actually. But what are your thoughts on it?
Well, my thoughts are that in wrestling, history always repeats itself. Throughout time, groups of guys aren't happy that the way things are going in a company, and they get together and they try to make change and start an impact and do a revolution. It happened in the 90s with the NWO, then in the late 90s with D-Generation X, and so on and so forth, and now we're just seeing it reincarnated again in a different company. Now, these guys are it's different, though, because these guys are all real talented, a real talented bunch, no jobbers, as anyone would say, but really tough guys that can really hold their own. So I wouldn't, seeing these guys take over wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to say.
And actually, that's another thing people have been talking about, is that they don't like D'Lo Brown being in it because he's been around for a while. He's older now. But actually, I thought he had a really good match with Kurt Angle a couple weeks ago on Impact Wrestling. So what are your thoughts on D'Lo?
D'Lo Brown is still and always, he's one of the best professional wrestlers out there. And he doesn't get all that credit, but he's really good. People his story is he was really big, then he lost all the weight, became the European champion, was with the nation all day. He's really good, and he's really athletic, and that frog splash is easily one of the top 3 frog splashes in professional wrestling. And, D'Lo Brown is still really good, and he can still go today.
And one last TNA thing real quick. And this Thursday on Impact Wrestling, we got to talk about P.D. Williams or the Canadian Destroyer, whoever again, is in a 3-way match for the X Division Championship against Kenny King and Michigan's own Chris Sabin, who just came back from an injury, and this is going to be a great match, I'm sure. And can I get a prediction?
You know, I gotta pick, you know, Chris Sabin, man. I gotta have to pick Chris Sabin. You know, coming back from that injury after 2 years being gone. You know, me and Chris Sabin, you know, I met him a few times. He's a really cool dude, gave me a lot of good advice. And, you know, I'm pulling for him. He needs to come back, and he's going to get this win, and it's going to be awesome for him. So I'm pulling for you, Chris.
Well, yeah, and now I think that will be a great match. And I also would like to see Chris Sabin get the title. But wouldn't it be interesting, though, if we see P.D. Williams hit the Canadian Destroyer and win the title on Impact Wrestling, and then at the next Clash Wrestling show, we see the Canadian Destroyer with the TNA X Division Championship.
Oh, well, of course, if he has the TNA X Division Championship, that's going to be a dead giveaway that that's P.D. Williams. But, you know, if P.D. Williams won the X Division Championship, you know, he's done it before, he's done it a few times, and he's won the big belt in Clash Wrestling. So P.D. Williams winning the X Division Championship isn't too far-fetched. You know, he could do it, but I'm pulling for Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin's been out for a long time. He needs this win. It's going to be his night.
And the new thing that TNA has in the X Division, that every number one contender match and every title match has to be a three-way now. And do you think that is a good idea, or do you think that's kind of overdoing it with the three-way matches a little bit?
I honestly, if I was going for a title, I wouldn't want to be in a three-way match to be the number one contender because it drastically cuts your odds. You go from having a 50-50 chance to winning to have a 33.3333% chance of winning the match. And, you know, I don't have trouble in triple threat matches per se. I could hold my own in them, but it's dangerous, you know, especially if a title shot's on the line. So I wouldn't want to be in a triple threat match like that.
And before we wrap up here, I just want to talk about Clash Wrestling Relay for Life again, Fight Against Cancer 6 at Heritage Park this Saturday. And I want everybody to listen that's listening right now, if you're in the Michigan area, or even if you're not, make the trip to Taylor, Michigan, and go to it. It's a really good cause. And do you have any last words or last comments that you would like to say about it?
You know, I just want to say, come out there, you know, this Saturday the 18th at Relay for Life at Heritage Park. You know, come out there, come early. We're all going to be hanging out there. You're going to see Wreckinball out there. You'll see Tommy Tresnick. You'll see Melanie Libra, everyone, all the Clash Wrestling people, wrestlers and crew and all that. And then you come and you go for the free show after. It's going to be such a fun time. You know, Lance is going to be out there hanging out with us. It's going to be fun, and, you know, it's going to be a great time, and you're not going to want to miss this free show. If you're going to go to a wrestling show, why not go to a free show? Come to the free Clash Wrestling event this Saturday.
And do you think there will be another chance that we will see another dance-off with Wreckinball and somebody else?
You know what? Is that a call? Are you challenging me, Lance? I think Lance just challenged me to a dance-off at the Relay for Life event. Is that a challenge, Lance?
I don't think that would be a good idea.
Because we did the wobble last interview after the show. We did the wobble, so I know you have some dance moves. So you want to dance with the Wrecking Ball, we can make it happen.
And maybe Tony will have the dance contest.
Oh, yeah, we get a triple threat match going on, dance-off. First time ever.
And one more thing here before we wrap up, I just want to bring up, at Age of Allegiance, we had an interview after the show, and you talked about something that might be coming in the future for Clash Wrestling, your segment. And can you say anything more about it just yet?
I could say a whole lot about it, but I'm not going to. I got to keep you guys surprised. I got to keep the suspense build up. If I let out what's going to happen, and all the listeners of Wrestling 360 Wrestling Fanatic Radio are going to come to the show, I already know what's going to happen. So I got to keep it a surprise, Lance. Build the suspense. You're excited for it, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm looking forward to see it. And
it's going to be something that has never, ever been done on independent wrestling. It's going to be so interactive. It's going to be so fun, and it could be the most fun thing in a Clash Wrestling show. I said it.
I'm looking forward to see it, and actually, it's really a good thing you don't say nothing, because if you did, all the dirt sheets, all the news sites, Dave Meltzer, they would be all reporting on it and speculating about it the next day.
Oh, yeah, I hear those guys right now, and they're listening right now, and I just want to say you're not going to get anything from Wreckinball, except that if you want to see what happens, you're going to just come to the show and find out.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, I'll be at Grappleganza. And like I said during the last interview, if you need any co-hosts on the show, I'm sure me and Tony will be glad to do it for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've been keeping my ear to the ground, and we're going to make it happen, Captain. We're going to get some hosts, and what? We're going to have you guys on the show every once in a while. We're going to see what we can do. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really interactive, and it's going to be really cool. So at Grappleganza, it's going to be a pretty cool night.
That would be awesome. And I just want to say, once again, thanks a lot for coming on again, and I hope to have you on again real soon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I always have so much fun. I feel like I'm the third host almost. I'm on it quite a few times, and it's always such a fun time, getting to talk to you and you ask some tough questions, questions I don't usually get asked, so it's always a fun time, I can't wait till the next time, and I can't wait to see you at the show this Saturday.
You're always welcome to come on, even if you want to talk Clash or WWE, TNA, or anything, really. Anytime, you can just come on.
What about our reality shows? Can we talk about reality shows? You watch any American Idol?
Sure, why not? Sure. You can talk anything. You can even come on here and talk about comedies or talk about any TV shows for that matter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that sounds good, man. Anytime. I'm going to be listening.
And now I just got to get back to one question that I forgot to ask about. We know you were in the movie Taking Back the City, but are there any plans for any more Wreckingball movies coming out soon?
Yeah, actually, it's really interesting that you said that now that we break away from wrestling for a little bit. I actually have a whole summer project lined up. I'm doing, I've been working with this great director and writer over in Wyandotte, Michigan, Scott Gillespie, and I've been working with a lot of his films, and I'm going to be just wrapped up one Whiskey Tango in that I had a small role. Then now I'm working on a movie called Color of My Energy, which is a really cool story. And also after that, I will be going on to, I'm not too sure what the project is. He doesn't have a really title for it yet, but I have projects lined up all summer. So it's pretty cool doing wrestling and acting. So it's got a lot of cool roles coming out.
Awesome. I'll be looking forward to maybe get a chance and see those movies when they do come out. And
definitely. I'm going to give you the red carpet treatment.
Oh, yeah. And we only have a couple minutes here. We have to wrap up pretty quick. So, Clash Wrestling Fight Against Cancer 6 this Saturday, and I hope to see you Saturday and get a chance to talk to you quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll be there. Everyone will be there. And, I've had such a fun time on the radio show today. It's a beautiful day out. We're going to go out and have some fun, and, we're going to have a lot of fun this Saturday, too. So, hey, thanks a lot for having me again, Lance. And, hey, you better work on those dance moves because I'm going to be looking for you on Saturday.
All right, I'll be ready. And thanks again, and take care, and have a good night.
All right, thanks a lot, dude. See you later. Thanks for having me again. All right, see ya.